Hey everybody, Rob Cootie here with the MLM Solution. I hope everybody had a great weekend because today is Monday, May 3rd. Already May's almost already gone. May 3rd already. Just kidding, of course, but it seems like it's that way. One month after the other just flies by. Here we are in the 5th month. Wow, it's amazing. Today we're going to have an interesting topic. As you know, today is our podcast, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, currently 10:57. And we are going to be having an interesting subject today, whether to go full-time or stay part-time. What's the advantages? What's the disadvantages? Do you have the guts to make that leap? What decisions or what should you use to make the decision to go full-time? We're going to be talking about that and more in today's important episode. If you will, use hashtag the MLM Solution. That's hashtag, you can see it on the ticker, the MLM Solution, to share their podcast and our other platforms and our website with our fellow network marketers all across the globe. They have a right to this wonderful information as well. And you can help be part of that positive process if you do share hashtag the MLM Solution. And please visit our new updated website. It's getting bombarded. I'm very surprised and happy with the activity we're getting on our website and the YouTube channel and the Facebook. So we thank you guys in advance for all of that. All right, with that being said, I'm going to hop off here because we're going to be going live here very shortly, and I've rambled long enough. See you in a moment.
Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie.
Hello, Miss Marie. Good morning. How are you today?
Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. It's our first episode in May.
That's good. I like that.
Hey, it's almost the beginning of summer too here, man. We were up in the 80s this weekend. It's been beautiful. We're going to cool off again early part of this week, but that's all right. Summer is pretty much here.
Well, that's good to hear. If I'm not mistaken, didn't they announce on the calendar that we are now into the summer officially or something like that? Am I correct in that assumption?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know when summer officially starts. Doesn't summer officially start in like June or something? I mean, the unofficial start's always Memorial Day weekend, right? Because that's when everybody's kind of sliding into summer. But
yeah, because that's when the pools actually, quote unquote, officially open. So that's me. I kind of say, yep, that's when summer really starts. So
see, I call it the first time we hit 80. For me, that's summer.
Well,
that's hot.
Yeah. As I get older, anything above 75 makes me kind of cringe. I'm like, So I totally get what you're saying. As a youngster,
usually the old people like the hotter weather. They like it warmer.
I don't get that.
Yeah,
I really don't. One extreme. It's funny when you're younger, you put up with all.
Yeah, but I don't know. I have no idea what the story is with the temperature thing. But I know, having grown up in Wisconsin, I like the colder weather, so I like to stick with that. But it looks like Mr. Rob's video froze up here, so we might have an issue for just a minute, or it's possible I'm talking to myself and my video froze up. I can never quite tell what the difference is, but we're going to continue on here. Hope Rob comes back. Looks like he's back.
Wow, we haven't had that happen in a long time.
No, I know. And I was just saying, it's one of those, I'm never quite sure if it's me freezing up or you freezing up. And
yes, I know.
So
I don't know what to say.
Well, all we're going to say is we're going to cross our fingers and hope that that's it for this episode, and we can just continue on.
Yeah,
from
exactly. Well, it's not it's Monday. So that's all I'll say. It's Monday. It's going to happen.
That's when the gremlins like to hit because they're cranky because we took them away from the weekend, made them go to work again.
There you go. Well, you know what? You and I used to have that on a regular basis there for a while. And it had me scrambling, checking out all the technology to make sure it wasn't this, wasn't that. As you know, I change internet providers just to make sure. And because one thing you don't want to do is have those kind of glitches, right? Yeah. So I don't know what to say to that, young lady, but here we are. So let's get on it. All right, today's podcast number 174. We hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. We're glad that you're here. We want to say thank you in advance for all the activity on our website and our social media platforms. We are very grateful for that. I can never say that enough because that's to interact with you guys. That's what we're all about. We're here for you. And when we see those kind of numbers, we know that we're helping you out. So thank you guys so much. All right. With that being said, if you have any questions whatsoever, you know that you can go to this link right here for all of you on the podcast, themlmsolution.net/support. Guys, you can use that form for anything. It's the reason why we set it up. You can contact us to make suggestions on show topics. You can ask clarification questions. You can just say, hey, there's a problem on the website. You can say, hey, what about your podcast, Bob? Whatever. That's what it's there for. So I just wanted to bring up those examples so that you guys know that we want you to use that form to communicate with us. And, you can comment on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. You can do all that. So, but the support link, to be honest with you, on the website is going to be the one that's going to be the most, the easiest way for us to communicate with you, to be honest with you. So, Miss Marie, with that being said, we have an interesting topic today. And it's nothing more than really, it all boils down to this: full-time or part-time. And, a lot of people, they have the grandiose image of living this free lifestyle, debt-free, personally free, free, right? And that there's a price to pay for that. People just think it automatically happens in this business model, which it can. If you get on a roll and you really get the momentum going, and the next thing you know, you're on it, right? But Miss Marie, to give up, and we're going to go into a deeper dive, but to give up your job, your health insurance, and all of that for an unknown is a really scary thing. Now, people do it all the time. I was watching some documentaries last night, and these were documentaries about pioneers and icons of various industries. And the one thing that they all shared is that they just literally stopped what they were doing and went out there blind. And many of them not qualified, which was amazing, to really do what they were chasing, and you always hear people say, chase your dreams and this and that. And I have mixed emotions about that statement in itself, because a lot of times, a lot of unqualified people make horrendous decisions that not only affect themselves, but their family. If you're by yourself, go for it. If you want to live in a cardboard box and have no insurance, that's up to you. But when you drag other people with you, well, then you got a problem, right? So it's an important subject today.
It is. And it's one of those where we want folks to go into this eyes wide open, right? A lot of people get in their mind that, hey, they're really about, and I was one of those. When I got into network marketing way back in the day, my initial one was, hey, I want to be my own boss. I don't want to have to go to a job. I don't want to be constrained by certain work hours. I want to be the one in charge. I want to be the one making the decisions. And, that initial experience that I had in my first network marketing company, I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about how to make it work. Now, I didn't quit my job and say I was just going to go do network marketing, obviously, because I wasn't going to do that, right? I'm a little bit too much of a control freak. I like to know what's going on. But had I done that, it would have been a huge mistake, because it takes a period of time to really ramp up the business, to have a decent level of income coming in on a consistent basis. And then the other thing that a lot of people don't realize, and I think this is true for any business that you start, is there are expenses that come with running a business that the average person doesn't think about. Because again, most people are coming from an employee mindset. They've been working for someone else. They've been working for a company for most of their working life. And flipping that mindset to being a business owner is totally different. You know, one of the things you just brought up was insurance. You know, there's all the insurance that you have to think about. You have to pay for your home insurance, your auto insurance, your life insurance, your medical insurance, your dental insurance. There's all the insurances that go on. And there are other expenses that come with running a business as well. So a lot of people think that in order to quit their job, if they have a $50,000 a year job, they need to earn $50,000 a year. When in fact, you almost have to double that amount to pay for all the other things that are quote unquote covered when you work for another company. Because oftentimes things are subsidized by the company you work for, especially things like insurance and some of those other things that you don't think about from an expense perspective. So that's something important to consider. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's, unfortunately, that's one of the cons, I'm going to say. I hesitate to say that, but it is a con because it can go either way. But I can see where it probably 51% con and 49% pro. If you're going to have a piece of paper and write down the pros and cons of the industry, this could fall on either side. And once again, 51% of the time, I think it would end up on the con side because there's such a long history of people making the wrong decision. And once again, that's the reason why we do these episodes and why we're going to talk about it today. And you know what, Miss Maria, it just highlights the importance of the 10,000 group volume because it gives you a clear indication of where you are. You're making the money all during that time of building up to that 10,000 group volume number. So you have some stability, but the future is unknown. There's no guarantees. As we talked about the volatility of a new company, you can say, okay, honey, we're going to go full time in this. And because the money's been there, and then 2 weeks later, the company could be gone. Okay. But the one thing in that scenario that is irreplaceable is the knowledge and experience of building a successful business. And in other words, you can go, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? You can say, I'm going to find me another freaking company, get my butt out there and do it again, you know, because we need the money. There's a number of things we want to talk about. Number one, if you keep in mind that if you do make that decision to go full time, do not leave your job. Do not burn any bridges. Just put it to you that way. Okay. People can respect if you're pursuing your own dream. People can respect if you're pursuing your own business. Okay. If you go to your boss or whatever, and you say, hey, you know what? I've really got this business. I've got this business on the side. It's really rolling. And I've got to see how far this is going to go. If you do it in a professional manner and you explain yourself, other entrepreneurs, other leaders get it. They understand to a certain point. Not everybody's going to understand, Miss Marie, because they don't want to lose good people, right? And some people want to say you're crazy and this and that, and it's really going to test your mettle. You're going to have to make that decision, obviously, despite all of that. But one of the great barometers that we teach is the 10,000 group volume. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things I wanted to say. We should probably first start talking about where do you get to the point of making the decision of whether or not to go full time.
Yeah, I was building up to that because it is imperative that you understand that, guys, because if you're going to look, our business building system, the 5 simple steps, get you to 10,000 group volume. It lays out a complete game plan, a very easy to do. And I'm talking about step 1, step 2, blah, blah, blah. And easy to understand and easy to execute. You could not ask for a better roadmap with 10,000 group volume. We show you from the moment that you join the business what you have to do. We have all the paperwork to fill out so that you know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, how to do it, etc. So that is all rock solid. All it's left is for you to apply the effort, okay? The thing is that as you go along and you're working your way towards that 10,000 group volume, you'll learn so much about yourself, so much about the business, so much about how to build a successful business that is profitable, okay? Meaning that when you get to the 10,000 group volume level, you're going to be well educated about what you've already experienced, which is going to put you in a position to make a very educated decision. You can only make a decision based on what you know. You cannot make a decision about an unknown future. You cannot prepare for an unknown. A lot of people say that you can. In this industry, you can't, because the company's future is out of your control. Okay, your downline leaders are out of your control. They own their own businesses. If they choose to go somewhere else, that is out of your control. But you can't worry about that. If you built it up to the 10,000 group volume, you say, well, Rob, how could you not worry about that? That could happen. Yes. And don't sit in the corner sucking your thumb. If one of your big leaders leave, guess what? Get out there and replace them. You already did it once. The numbers are in your favor if you're working the numbers. So you're going to get a replacement just out of the automatic activity of the numbers and what they do. So you can't lose sight of that, because if I was building my business today and I lost my biggest leg and it took, say, 30-40% of my income and kind of rocked my business a little bit, where it's a little bit unstable, I would sit down and I wouldn't panic. You say, why would you not panic? Because once again, I'd say, okay, you know what? I sponsored 60 people in 90 days. Here's what the numbers will do. Yes, I took a hit today, but in a month, that person could completely be replaced with a new superstar. I can't worry about that. I have to move forward, because I can only control what I control, and I have to build back up to that 10,000 group volume. And I guess that's an episode for the future, Miss Marie, because if you build up the 10,000 group volume and people leave, okay, and you still feel that the opportunity is viable and you want to stick with that company, you got to work to build that right back up, okay? We'll give you some real life examples of that happening and what came out of that to give you a little encouragement about a potential situation like that. But we're not going to get into that right now. So when you get to the 10,000 group volume, you're going to have to sit down with your significant other, maybe your whole family, whatever you choose to do. And you can say, look, guys, we've reached a milestone. When I first started this, I really didn't know where this was going to go. I really never thought that we would be full-time. We just need some extra money. But we've really caught lightning in a bottle here. Things are just coming along so well. Things are going really well. And we are in a position where we could go full-time. And your family might say, well, what does that mean? That means that I would leave my job, blah, blah, blah. And here's the challenges we're going to have. And communication with your family is imperative, because you don't want to leave them in the dark. Leaving them in the dark invites them questioning your sanity, your ability to make sound decisions, your ability to lead the family, right? But if you keep people informed and say, look, here's the numbers, here's where we are, here's the money we're making, here's the money we have been making, here's where we're going, and we're on a roll. And one of the most important things in the business building process is not slow down the momentum. And we have that momentum. So we're at the 10,000 group volume. I want your all support. Here's what I'm wanting to do. Now, once again, if your family says, no, you're crazy, you're you know what, you shouldn't do this, blah, 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 it's going to take a lot of mental on your part to make that decision. You may end up making it on your own, but you have to look at the facts. You should let the facts help you make an educated decision. And Ms. Marie, you got anything to add to that before I touch into the part-time aspect of it?
Well, I think we're in an interesting position today. So you and I were in the industry at a time where it was pretty cut and dried. If we needed to make a decision of whether or not to go full-time with our network marketing business, it was a decision that we had to make, and we were kind of cutting ties with the company we were working with, right? Of course, you always want to leave on good terms and not burn bridges and those types of things. But nowadays, there are things in place where you could maybe even test the waters for a couple, 3 months before you actually leave your job. There are things like the FMLA, Family and Medical Leave Act. I don't know what the ramifications would be trying to invoke something like that, but some sort of extended vacation, if you've piled up personal time off, something like that. If you can take a leave of absence from your job and kind of test the waters and do it full time before you actually leave your job, that could be, a viable option nowadays. That back when we were doing it, that wasn't something we would have even thought about, right?
No, that's a great. That did not even cross my mind. That is a great suggestion, and I would. You're right. They should check that out.
Yeah. So, but for those that are bold and just want to take the dive, if you feel you've built a solid business and this is really what you want to pursue and you're going to go full time,
Yeah.
Go.
Right. Now, if you're single, let's make it clear. If you're single, this is an easy decision, okay? Because the only person that's going to be affected is you. And to me, Miss Marie, that's the ideal thing. When, I was divorced, okay? So, but I was married to the military, right? So even though I wasn't married, I was married. I was not going to leave the military. And that leads me into my next point. Guys, Miss Marie and I always believe in common sense. You built a business to 10,000 group volume. Okay, you can't slow down the momentum. There is kind of, there is kind of a cruise control mode that you can go into to help carry that momentum to a certain degree for a short term. You cannot allow momentum to stay in the neutral very long. But here's my point. I'm in the military. I'm say I got 18 years in. I'm going to retire at 20 years. All I got to do is hold on for 2 years. Okay. I'm not giving up 18 years to go into network marketing. I don't care if I'm making $100,000 a month. You might be saying, well, Rob, that you'll never make that kind of money in the military. That's right. But there's so many benefits. Number one, finishing the job. I'm at 18 years. Miss Marie, you know why I finished my military career? At the 15-year mark, the government said, we'll give you $60,000, which was a lot of money back in 80. I think it was either 60 or 80. I can't remember, to get out. They were trying to downsize the military, so they were giving people incentives to get out. A lot of people took that. But you know what? We had a colonel that had a meeting. He called everybody into the base theater, which would hold 300-400 people. And they would do these meetings over and over and over for the base population. And he would lay out, if you leave now, you'll get this. And here's the taxes you'll pay. And here's this. But if you stay and retire, here's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it was clear as day that the long-term answer was to stay, not to run into, the quick cash and follow the little shiny thing, right? Which was the quick money. There was a lot of people that did. And there's a lot of horror stories that came out of that, unfortunately. I made the decision to finish those last 6 years. And I'll be honest with you, those last 6 years were hard. Not only because I was divorced and missed my family, my kids, but at the same time, Miss Marie, staying in the military was hard. It was, it wasn't the first thing I wanted to do with my career. And you know why I stayed? Because I wanted to finish what I started. When it all was said and done, I looked at what the colonel had said, made perfect sense, long-term, retired, because here's what will happen. But in hindsight, the only reason I was in the military is because I had a family to support. And so I thought, okay, I did that. I did that admirably, and I served my country doing it. And you know what? All that's done, I can go in a new direction, a new direction I wanted to go. But when I laid in the bed at night, what really kept me in was I wanted to finish. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
When I started. Okay. Now, the reason I bring it up, guys, if you're in a job where if you're putting in 20, 25 years and you're going to retire, do not give up what you worked so hard to have for network marketing success. Now, I know we're advocates for the business and for the industry and the business model and what it can do. But at the same time, guys, we got to use some common sense here. You can't throw away 20-something years or 18 years. You can put this business in a neutral mode, if you will. You can still do it part-time, Miss Marie, and maintain that neutral mode for a while. In other words, Miss Marie, if you build it up to 10,000 group volume and it goes down to 7,500, don't panic, because you can build it back up, okay? If you slow down the momentum to where it goes from 10,000 to 3,000, you got a problem, okay? And based on what company you're with and the phase of the phase growth of the company, even going down to 7,500 could be a challenge. But I'd rather start at 7,500, Miss Marie, than 3,000, right?
Absolutely.
If you're down to 3,000, you might as well go to another company and start over.
Potentially, if there's a better company to go to. Yeah. Well, and it's another interesting point you bring up. You talk about if you've been somewhere 18, 20 years now, how rare is that today with most people? I mean, people are job hopping. There's not necessarily a huge benefit to staying with the same company for a long period of time anymore. So it's unusual to find people, even in my generation, that have stayed somewhere 20 years or longer.
That's right.
So really what I advocate doing, everybody's situation is different, right?
That's right.
So you have to take your own individual situation and do a sober assessment of where you are and what you can realistically achieve with your network marketing business.
That's right.
And that's hard to do in isolation. So by that, I mean, it's probably not something you really want to just sit and figure out all by yourself. You should find some sort of reasonable sounding board to help you think through that decision process and come to the right conclusion. Now, if you have an upline mentor, or you have some sort of business coach, or you have somebody in your network of friends or whatever that has a solid business background that can help you think through the various ramifications of leaving your job and going full time, take advantage of it. Otherwise, again, that's a service, I guess, that we could potentially offer in terms of helping you go through an evaluation of your particular situation.
That's right. Absolutely. Just contact us on what we showed earlier, guys. All you have to do is just go to that support link that we had on there earlier. And let's see. I think it's right there. Hold on.
Yep. So the website's themlmsolution.net/support. So again, that's one of those things you can put in the form. Hey, I need help with fill in the blank.
There you go. All right. So with that being said, she's right. Look, you got to look at not only the 10,000 group volume, which is a barometer to help you make a decision whether to go full-time or part-time, but you got to look at your total picture, which includes the 10,000 group volume. You have to look at your unique situation, as she stated. All that's different. That's the reason why I brought up a couple of examples. All right. Now, Miss Marie, pretty much what I did is I just continued to take the money that I had, paid off debt, and started investing it. Okay. So I kind of did a part-time thing for a while in taking the money that I was making. Sometimes that money was good. Sometimes it wasn't, because sometimes the companies I was with went out of business. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, you had to start over, but I took the money I had because other than a nice car, I didn't have a house at that time. I wasn't buying a house. So I had the money to invest in real estate. I didn't have pretty much anything else. Right. The only other expensive thing I did was travel. So the thing is that you had a situation where it was ideal for me. And my decision was easier than most. Most people have a complicated life. Kids going to school, having a job, long term, whether it's 7 years or 17, whatever. All right. So we've brought up enough examples to give you an idea, but never forget that the 10,000 group volume puts you at the doorstep of the big time. Okay. There is no doubt that if you, based on what the company is paying you at the 10,000 group volume level, that your business could really start to take off. Okay. And you could decide that you want to do a phase 3 90-day mini blast, which could really escalate your business into the big time and full time. Because Miss Marie, once you start doing the phase 3, phase 4, it almost becomes a full-time thing because you got the leaders from the phase 1 process and phase 1 and 2 that are a part, obviously, of your business foundation and also at different levels of growth. And now you're adding a whole new level of growth on top of that. And so now you're really stressing out your time. And that's the reason why I brought up putting your business in a holding pattern, which would mean part-time. Okay. And when you're at that doorstep of 10,000 group volume, and Miss Marie, that can be one of the toughest business decisions you're going to make in this business because you don't want to lose that momentum, as we said, but at the same time, you don't want to lose your job. You don't want to lose your family. And doing the part-time thing is not a bad thing. Let's get that out of the way. Let's not say full-time is the golden pot and the part-time is a toilet, because that's not what we have going on here. Part-time can be a great thing. Okay. It can have, matter of fact, part-time can have a bigger impact on more people than full-time can have on the few people. And you say, well, why do you say that? Well, if you've been listening to our podcast and you understand the basics of the business and the numbers, guess what? 97.3. We talk about that all the time. Only 3%, 1 to 3% of you are going to be able to go full time. I mean, it's just the way it is. You just have to decide whether you're going to pay the price to be a part of that 1 to 3% club, right, Miss Marie? That's all it is. It's just effort and time and using the right system.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the other things that just occurred to me that I wanted to make sure we throw in here is we talk about that 10,000 group volume kind of being that threshold of considering whether or not you want to go full time. That doesn't mean the first month that you hit 10,000 group volume, you're all of a sudden thinking, hey, I can pull the trigger and go full time, right? You want to maintain that level for a period of time. I would say typically, in my opinion, 3 to 6 months.
That's right.
And as you're maintaining that 10,000 group volume for that 3 to 6 months, that gives you a good period of time to really start kind of thinking through whether or not full-time is the right decision for you.
That is a great point. I'm glad you brought it up. I would not have gone there, but that is an absolutely wonderful point. You're absolutely right, because guys, just because, as she stated, you hit 10,000 group volume in May of 2021, you have not reached the big time. You're just at the doorstep. Okay. And you got to maintain at least a 10,000 group volume, as she stated, as I hold up my fingers, 3 months. And she's right. And up to 3 to 6 months, because it's a longevity of maintaining that 10,000 group volume that puts you at the doorstep of the big time. Okay. And that's when you can have that conversation with your family, because you've proven to yourself, not only can you achieve it, but you can maintain it. Right, Miss Marie? And
right.
That is where the decision comes, because really, Miss Marie, unless you do a phase 3 where you sponsor a whole new group of leaders, your business will kind of start to level off a little bit, because you sponsored 60 people. And so you maxed out your first phase 1 and 2, right? And I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about that, but you understand the numbers. The numbers 1/3, 1/3 of 1/3 are going to do its magic on those 60 people. Okay. And I don't care if you go down 10 levels deep, guys, the numbers, width is wealth. Don't ever forget that. So if you stop at 60, you've determined your own future as far as wealth goes, right, Miss Marie? Mm-hmm. You've limited your own income, because if you're with a company that has an unlimited number of people that you can sponsor, that means you could sponsor another 60 people in phase 3 and have a total of 120 people that you sponsored and really maximize the comp plan. And we've talked about that in many episodes, right?
Yeah.
That's when your business starts to go big time, guys. The reason why we say when you create 10,000 group volume in phase 1 and 2, or put yourself close to it, you're now getting into the big time, because that means, oh man, now I got to do a phase 3 and 4, which means you're going to put a whole new layer of leaders, another 60 on top of the 60 you did in phase 1 and 2. Is that not correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. And like we always say, it's all about the numbers, right?
It's all about the numbers. And that's where when you reach the 10,000, it's telling you, if you're going to go to the next level, if you're going to go full time, guess what? You're going to have to do a phase 3 and 4, which is, another massive effort on your part. All right. So with that being said, and I'm glad you brought that up, Miss Marie, you're absolutely right. You got to have a minimum 3 months of 10,000 group volume or more. All right. In order to have that discussion with your family or with yourself. Okay. So with that being said, Miss Marie, here's the thing. When you're going part-time, guys, if you get to the 10,000 group volume, you say, you know what? I am scared to death to make that decision. I'm with a job where I have great benefits. I have a great rapport with all my peers and my boss, blah, blah, blah. I have an ideal situation. I cannot walk away from that. You know what? I'm willing to stay right here, right now, and I'll see if I can put this business in neutral, meaning that if you're putting in 3 to 4 hours a night into your business, you're going to have to maintain that. Okay. And sometimes that can be harder than going full time. You say, well, what do you mean? Well, think about it. You're putting in 8, 9, 10 hours into your job, and every night you're coming home and putting in another 3 to 4 hours. You cannot slow down. And you say, Rob, why can I not slow down? Because what'll happen is the business model doesn't care if you're part-time or full-time. The numbers in network marketing doesn't care if you're full-time or part-time. The numbers are going to work out the way they're going to work out, meaning you're going to have people leave your business. Okay. retention is absolutely essential, whether you're full-time or part-time. And the thing is, attrition happens, right, Miss Marie? So if you're part-time, you can't say, okay, I got to the 10,000 group volume, I'm just going to sit here and coast for a while. No, guess what? There's people below you who are going to say, you know what, I ain't stopping here. And you know what? I now have the knowledge and experience. I can go out over to this new company and I can take my people with me and I can start and build my own massive empire. Okay, since Rob has decided he's going to go in cruise control, now their decision should be based on what I do. Okay, but what it is that Rob is constantly focusing on sponsoring new people a little bit at a time and putting 3 to 4 hours in and doing a few meetings here and there, Zoom. In other words, Rob's doing what he can in those 3 to 4 hours to maintain what he's put together. Okay. And sometimes the other leaders who will pass you by, if they don't care for the company or the products change, comp plans change a little bit, and they're kind of unhappy, they're like, okay, you know what? I've maxed out this opportunity. I'm going to head out. And Rob's going to take a hit. Well, if I don't continue my activity on a part-time basis, I'm going to take a massive hit. And that's going to ruin my morale. And I'm going to see my volume go down. I'm going to say, man, is this really worth it? Maybe I need to give up altogether. Maybe I need to sell my business. Maybe I need to focus on my job and just forget about this network marketing thing. Those are the questions that are going to be posed to you in that scenario. Would you not agree, Miss Marie?
Absolutely. Yes. And one of the things I was going to say is it can be potentially, if you've built to a 10,000 group volume level, one thing we don't talk about often enough is that you're actually building a business asset. And most of the time that is also a saleable asset.
That's right.
So it's potential that if you've gotten to that level and you've decided that, you don't really want to build it any bigger, but you don't want to let it just, turn into an attrition thing and scale back, it could be of value to someone else who recognizes, hey, it's right on the cusp of going really big, that somebody would pay some good money for and sell it as a business asset.
Absolutely. It happens all the time, guys. If you build your business and you pay off your debt, everything but your house and maybe cars or college loans, whatever, she's absolutely right. If you're part-time saying, you know what, I cannot see myself maintaining an additional 3-4 hours per night, maintaining what I put together, I would rather sell it because I've really done some good things with the money I've already made. And I don't want this business to die. I need to look and what you do in that situation. And Miss Marie, we need to have a show on selling your business because we have not touched on that. And, but the thing is that she's right. And the way you do that, you call the company and you say, hey, look, because the company knows all the top leaders. They're talking to them all the time, believe it or not. If there's a top 10 list of top earners in your company, guess what? Company more times than not is in touch with those people and monitoring those people and their businesses on a continual basis because those people are their bread and butter. That's their 3 to 5 legs. Okay. That's what they're going to monitor those people, especially the top 5, Miss Marie. Because once you get past 5, when you get to 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, the income those additional legs are bringing in is going to dwindle no matter the size of the company. It's just the way the numbers work out. In other words, the person at number 9 is not going to make as much as the person at number 2 spot. Okay, then the person at number 2 spot is going to be probably $500,000 a month ahead of the person at number 9. It's just the way the numbers are working. Okay, but being the top 10 is an honor. Don't underestimate that. But no, here's my point. If you say, hey, I've got a really good business, I've got a strong business, it's been pumping this out for this long, I certainly cannot maintain this. Things have changed for me. Call the company and say, hey, will you put the word out? And they will. They'll call the people individually. They won't let you do it, but they'll call them and say, hey, Rob's got a business for sale. And they'll ask your permission, me, Rob, do you mind if we show them your numbers of your business? No, that's fine. And they'll print it out. And they'll say, hey, this is what his business has been doing. He's authorized us to share this with you, blah, blah, blah. And then if there's a viable thing there, they not only base the value of your business on what it's producing, but what the potential is in the future. I think over the next 3 years, Miss Marie, something like that. So you could literally walk away with, anywhere from $100,000 to maybe $600,000-$700,000 based on the size of your business in that sale. So that's an awesome thing. That's a great point that you bring up.
Yeah.
But let's bring, we're at 39 minutes. Let's bring this, let's summarize everything real quick. Number one, part-time is not a bad thing. It's all based on your individual desires, your needs, and situation. Don't ever look at part-time as a bad thing. You can build a really successful and a business that you're proud of on a part-time basis. You can maintain it for a while, okay? Now, Miss Marie, some people that were part-time would cut back. If they were working 12 hours a day, they would say, I got to cut back to 8 hours a day, okay? Now, sometimes that's received well. Sometimes it's not. That's an individual thing. But you can do that. You can cut back and work a regular 40-hour work week. And if you can maintain that part-time job, part-time business along with your regular jobs, kudos to you. Don't take it as a negative. Don't look at yourself as a failure. That is not what we were saying here. And we're not trying to sugarcoat a bad thing. If you're successful on a part-time basis in network marketing, you should be very proud. Okay, you have done something. And I'm telling you, most people don't make money in network marketing. And those that do typically don't make a lot. Miss Marie, if you make, I would say $100 to $300 on a monthly basis, you've done something, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Okay. Now, when you get up in 4 and 5 figures, you've done something spectacular. So I just want to make that clear to you guys. Part-time is not a bad thing. Full-time, on the other hand, can be very scary for some people. If you're single, typically going full-time is an easier decision based on what job you have. Okay. And Miss Marie, I've known doctors, I've known lawyers, I've known politicians, sports figures, movie stars. I can go on and on and on that have been a successful part of network marketing. Okay. It's a big scare. It can be a scary thing to give up what you worked so hard your whole life for, to go full time into something that you really don't understand. And kudos to the people that did it back in the day. Okay. Because nowadays you and I have the prior dollies, the prior 60 years to look at and have somewhat of confidence in making that decision. But back in those days, that was a tough decision. It was, go for the gusto and hope for the best. That's the reason why you wanted to pay everything off in case something did. Oh, crap. So, guys, there's no hardcore answer here. Full-time is better than part-time, but part-time is a good thing. And part-time can be better than full-time based on your individual situation. I wish we could give you a harder and straightforward, more clear answer than that. But because it's an individual decision and it's a fluid situation that's always changing, the company, whether it's a phase 1 company, phase 2 company, what the comp plan changes are, if there's any at all. I mean, there's so many things that you could discuss in this situation that it would be mind-boggling, and we just can't do that. But as Miss Marie said, if you have any questions, if you find yourself in that situation, right there is a way to find help. Miss Marie, you got anything to add before I close out?
I do not. And that way to find help, just for those of you on the podcast that don't see the video, that's themlmsolution.net/support is the website to go to. Fill out the form. Let us know how we can help you.
There you go. Well said, Miss Marie. And tomorrow episode, lost financial opportunity. You do not want to miss that. It's tomorrow's episode is going to tie into what we talked about today, full-time and part-time. You'll see why and how in tomorrow's episode. So stay tuned, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as usual, to learn about this important subject here. And before we go, don't forget, as always, we have these sales going on. Our What Not to Do in Network Marketing, our famous What Not to Do in Network Marketing. We've sold those things in the past for $197. As you know, the next 24 hours, only $47. An instant $150 savings, plus it comes with a lot of bonuses. As you can see, it's 146 paragraphs along with 146 audio files and many training videos. This information will help you become that focused business building machine that you need to be in order to achieve amazing things in this wonderful business model. Do not underestimate that price. Does not mean that this is poo-poo information. This is powerful information that can empower you to do wonderful things. And as always, I think you have the podcast replay. If you missed any of our past episodes, you can go there and you can get a free gift while you're there. And when you fill out the form, you're not going to get any sales emails from us. You may get a couple more highlighting some other free information that you may be interested in, but that's it. So don't be afraid to fill out that form that pops up. It's there so that we can stay in touch with you in the future about free products, FREE, free. And there's all kinds of bonuses that come with that as well. All right, Miss Marie, I think we covered everything. And Miss Marie, we'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. We got a good show coming out tomorrow. And I look forward to that subject matter. Once again, we're on a roll. Going into our third week, we've done some great things here.
That's awesome. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Thank you for listening to the MLM Solution Podcast. For more info, visit our website, themlmsolution.net. Please follow us on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, etc. And share this podcast with our fellow network marketers around the world by hitting the share button on our various platforms.